and welcome to the Last Book Reports. Today, I know it's coming out a little late, sorry, but I'm going to be doing the first 10 pages of The Fault in Our Stars by John Green. This was requested by one of my viewers, and the reason I hadn't been doing this is because I kind of felt like, you know, the reading community, pretty much everybody's read it, or they've seen the movie, or they've read it because the movie was coming out. So I felt like it wouldn't, you know, not something people would want to have me read the first 10 pages of, but it's been requested, so I shall do it. If you are new, the reason I do the first 10 pages is basically to interest you in reading the rest of the book, and hopefully the first 10 pages will entice you enough to go and check it out at your library, read it, or buy it, and stuff like that. So, without further ado, the first 10 pages of The Fault in Our Stars. Late in the winter of my 17th year, my mother decided I was depressed, presumably because I rarely left the house, spent quite a lot of time in bed, read the same book over and over, and devoted quite a bit of my abundant free time to thinking about death. Whenever you read a cancer booklet or website or whatever, they always list depression among the side effects of cancer. But in fact, depression is not a side effect of cancer. Depression is a side effect of dying. Cancer is also a side effect of dying. Almost everything is, really. But my mom believed I required treatment, so she took me to see my regular Dr. Jim, who agreed that I was veritably swimming in a paralyzing and totally clinic depression, and that therefore my meds should be adjusted and also I should attend a weekly support group. This support group featured a rotating cast of characters in various states of tumor-driven unwellness. Why did the cast rotate? A side effect of dying. The support group, of course, was depressing as hell. It met every Wednesday in the basement of a stone-walled Episcopal church shaped like a cross. We all sat in a circle right in the middle of the cross, where the two boards would have met when the heart of Jesus would have been. I noticed this because Patrick, the support group leader, an only person over 18 in the room, talks about the heart of Jesus every freaking meeting. All about how we as young cancer survivors were sitting right in the Christ's very sacred heart and whatever. So here's how it went in God's heart. The 6 or 7 or 10 of us walked/wheeled in, grazed at a decrepit selection of cookies and lemonade, sat down in the circle of trust, and listened to Patrick recount for the 1000th time his depressing, miserable life story. How he had cancer in his balls and they thought he was going to die, but he didn't die, and now here he is, a full-grown adult, in a church basement in the 137th nicest city in America. Divorced, addicted to video games, mostly friendless, eking out a meager living by exploiting his cancer-tastic past, slowly working his way towards a master's degree that will not improve his career prospects, waiting as we all do for the sword of Damocles, to give him the relief that he escaped, lo, those many years ago, when cancer took both of his nuts but spared what was the most generous soul would call his life. And you too might be so lucky. Then we introduced ourselves, name, age, diagnosis, and how we're doing today. When I'm Hazel, I'd say, when they ask me, 16, thyroid, originally, but with an impressive and long-settled satellite colony in my lungs, and I'm doing okay. Once we got around the circle, Patrick always asked if anyone wanted to share, and then began the circle jerk of support. Everyone talking about fighting and battling and winning and shrinking and scanning. To be fair to Patrick, he let us talk about dying too. But most of them weren't dying. Most would live into adulthood, as Patrick had, which meant there was quite a lot of competitiveness about it, with everybody wanting to beat not only cancer itself, but also the other people in the room. I realize that this is irrational, but when they tell you that you have, say, a 20% chance of living 5 years, the math kicks in. So you figure that's 1 in 5. So you look around and think, as any healthy person would, I gotta outlast 4 of these bastards. The only redeeming facet of support group was this kid named Isaac, a long-faced, skinny guy with a straight blonde hair swept over one eye, and his eyes were the problem. He had some fantastically improbable eye cancer. One eye had been cut out when he was a kid, and now he wore the kind of thick glasses that made his eyes, both the real one and the glass one, preternaturally huge. Like his whole head was basically just this fake eye and this real eye staring at you. From what I could gather on the rare occasions when Isaac shared with the group, a recurrence had placed his remaining eye in mortal peril. Isaac and I communicated almost exclusively through sighs. Each time someone discussed anti-cancer diets or snorting ground-up shark fin or whatever, he'd glance over at me and sigh ever so slightly. I'd shake my head microscopically and exhale in response. So support group blew, and after a few weeks, I grew to be rather kicking and screaming about the whole affair. In fact, on the Wednesday I made the acquaintance of Augustus Waters, I tried my level best to get out of support group. While sitting on the couch with my mom in the third leg of a 12-hour marathon of the previous season's America's Next Top Model, which admittedly I had already seen, but still, I refused to attend support group. Mom, one of the symptoms of depression is disinterest in activities. Me? Please just let me watch America's Next Top Model. It's an activity. Mom, television is passivity. Me. Ugh, Mom, please. Mom, Hazel, you're a teenager. You're not a little kid anymore. You need to make friends, get out of this house, and live your life. Me, if you want me to be a teenager, don't send me to support group. Buy me a fake ID so I can go to clubs, drink vodka, and take pot. Mom, you don't take pot for starters. Me, see? That's the kind of thing I'd know if you'd got me a fake ID. Mom, you're going to support group. Me, ugh. Mom, Hazel, you deserve a life. That shut me up, although I failed to see how attendance at support group met the definition of life. Still, I agreed to go after negotiating the right to record the 1.5 episodes of ANTM I'd be missing. I went to support group for the same reason that I'd once allowed nurses with a mere 18 months of graduate education to poison me with exotically named chemicals. I wanted to make my parents happy. There is only one thing in this world shittier than biting it from cancer when you're 16, and that's having a kid who bites it from cancer. Mom pulled into the circular driveway behind the church at 4:56. I pretended to fiddle with my oxygen tank for a second just to kill time. Do you want me to carry it for you? No, it's fine, I said. The cylindrical green tank only weighed a few pounds, and I had this little steel car to wheel it around behind me. It delivered 2 liters of oxygen to me each time through a cannula, a transparent tube that split just beneath my neck, wrapped behind my ears, and then reunited in my nostrils. The contraption was necessary because my lungs sucked at being lungs. I love you, she said as I got out. You too, Mom. See you at 6. Make friends, she said through the roll-down window as I walked away. I didn't want to take the elevator because taking the elevator is the last day's kind of activity at support group, so I took the stairs. I grabbed a cookie and poured some lemonade into a Dixie cup and then turned around. A boy was staring at me. I was quite sure I'd seen him before, long and leanly muscular. He dwarfed the molded plastic elementary school chair he was sitting in. Mahogany hair, straight and short. He looked my age, maybe a year older, and he sat with his tailbone against the edge of the chair, his posture aggressively poor, one hand half in a pocket of dark jeans. I looked away, suddenly conscious of my myriad of insufficiencies. I was wearing old jeans, which had once been tight but now sagged in weird places, and a yellow t-shirt advertising a band I didn't even like anymore. Also, my hair. I had this page boy haircut, and I hadn't even bothered to, brush it. Furthermore, I had ridiculously fat chipmunk cheeks, a side effect of treatment. I looked like a normally proportioned person with a balloon for a head. This was not even to mention the cankle situation. And yet, I cut a glance to him, and he was still on me. It occurred to me why they called it eye contact. I walked into the circle and sat down next to Isaac, 2 seats away from the boy. I glanced again. He was still watching me. Look, let me just say it. He was hot. A non-hot boy stares at you relentlessly, and it is at best awkward and at worst a form of assault. But a hot boy, well... I pulled out my phone and clicked it so it would display the time. 4:59. The circle filled in with the unlucky 12 to 18s. And then Patrick started us out with the serenity prayer. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. The guy was still staring at me. I felt rather blushy. Finally, I decided that the proper strategy was to stare back. Boys do not have a monopoly on the staring business after all. So I looked him over as Patrick acknowledged for the 1000th time his ballishness, etc. And soon it was a staring contest. After a while, the boy smiled, and then finally his blue eyes glanced away. When he looked back at me, I flicked my eyebrows up to say, I win. He shrugged, Patrick continued, and then finally it was time for the introductions. Isaac, perhaps you'd like to go first today. I know you're facing a challenging time. Yeah, Isaac said. I'm Isaac, I'm 17, and it's looking like I have to get surgery in a couple of weeks, after which I'll be blind. Not to complain or anything, because I know a lot of you have it worse, but yeah, I mean, being blind does sort of suck. My girlfriend helps though, and friends like Augustus. He nodded toward the boy, who now had a name. So yeah, Isaac continued. He was looking at his hands, which he had folded into each other like at the top of a teepee. There's nothing you can do about it. We're here for you, Isaac, Patrick said. Let Isaac hear it, you guys. And then we all, in a monotone said, we're here for you, Isaac. Michael was next. He was 12. He had leukemia. And that would be page 10. Which, you know what? It amazes me every time I do this, how well page 10 actually really is a good ending point. Because now you kind of get to see what the book's about, which is obviously, as you can tell, about a girl with leukemia which is also obviously about a girl with cancer named Hazel, who meets another person in support group, a boy named Augustus, and you know what follows. But really, you probably already know what the book's about. Go see the movie if you haven't read the book. Well, read the book, then go see the movie. Both very good. So yeah, that's the first 10 pages. If you like this, please give it a thumbs up. I'm trying to do them every Monday. And let me know down below what books you want me to read the first 10 pages of. And, share this video and all that other fun stuff. Bye, fellow readers.